Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of An Anatomy of the Arts. I am Ethan Neville, and today we are joined by an excellent singer-songwriter, Eve Christina. How are you, Eve?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me, Ethan.
Thank you. How's life been treating you recently?
Life's been good. I've been just spending a lot of time focusing on music stuff, which is really nice.
Nice.
And yeah, it feels like things are starting to happen that maybe weren't happening this time last year. So I'm feeling positive,
Good.
very inspired as well. I've been writing a lot, which is nice.
Good. Are you a full-time artist?
No, I'm not. I can't afford to be doing that. I've been basically I was working in a coffee shop, and then I left at the end of last year, and I just said I'm going to spend all of the last few months of the year from November just putting all my energy into music and doing everything I can and using the money that I'd saved to survive, and then just see what happens. And I'm getting to a point now where I'm like, okay, the funds are low, but we're inspired, so
pushing through.
Exactly. But I'm probably going, I still work every now and again because I have to.
Is it, okay, so I've asked this question to a lot of my guests because I get a range of full-time and normally a lot of the time I'm quite surprised they're full-time because it's not like their stream of income is based on a lot of different things. But for a part-time artist like yourself, is it difficult to balance and remain in that creative sphere when you're not always around music? Because I know, you have your YouTube and you're quite open and honest on there, like you are for your music, and you say that it's difficult for you sometimes, you want to consume music, but it's just not the case for you. So how, is it difficult to stay around music?
Yeah, that's a good question. I quite enjoy sometimes having time away from it, because then when you come back to it, you feel more inspired, or you've given yourself a bit of air to breathe and think about other things, and not just because it does become a bit all consuming, especially in the way that music for everyone really starts off as as a love and a hobby, and then when you try and turn that into a job or a career, sometimes things shift and you forget the reason that you're doing it, and it's important to remember that. So I think sometimes for me, having the chance to step back and if I'm working at a coffee shop or whatever, to have 8 hours where I don't have to think about music or the career or anything, it's actually quite nice. So I kind of enjoy it.
Are you, a lot of the time as well, people that have music as a hobby really get deep in with the vinyl collecting and the just being surrounded by all this media? Are you someone that consumes it an ungodly amount outside of creating it yourself?
Yeah, I definitely do listen to a lot of music. I think I hear a lot of artists say that when you get into the industry, you actually start listening to less music because you spend more time just making it yourself and less time as a consumer. But I never want to lose that. I always want to remain a fan of other people's art. It's so inspiring as well to have other artists that you listen to and that inspire you. So yeah, no, I collect vinyl as well, and I try and I'm a big album lover. Whenever a new album comes out, I'll sit down and I'll listen to it top to bottom.
Damn, really?
Yeah, and I love it.
What's your what kind of vinyls do you collect?
I actually, to be fair, at the minute I'm trying to spend less money on random stuff that I don't. So I haven't bought one in a while, but I have lots of Joni Mitchell vinyls. I have a lot of new ones, new artists like Boy Genius, Phoebe Bridgers, Adrian Lenker, Taylor Swift, Arlo Parks. I don't know, I have a lot of just artists that I like. It's when there's an album that I love, I'll know that I want to buy it on vinyl.
Yeah, are you do you go to HMV, or do you go to the small kind of independent ones? Because this is a big deal breaker for anyone that collects vinyls, is HMV or like a chain or
Yeah, well, I'm lucky because in the town where I live, we have a independent local record store. So
Okay.
yeah, so where I can, I'll go to him.
An acceptable answer.
Yeah. Thank God. Honestly, I've been kicked off.
And that's it from Eve Christina. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Thank you.
kidding. I mean, okay, that actually segues perfectly. You mentioned Phoebe Bridgers, Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
My own personal opinion of your music, I would say it like currently aligns with artists in the female pop world. Gracie Abrams, Tate McRae, Phoebe Bridgers. Very deep, moving lyrics
Yeah.
paired with like soft melodies and
Mm.
kind of not much reliance on the music per se, but more trying to tell a story of whatever it is you're talking about.
Yeah.
But when you did start, who were the artists? Because you started when you were like 15 or something, around that time. Who were the artists then that you were looking up to and perhaps were inspired by?
Honestly, I was a huge fan of a lot of male singer-songwriters at the time.
Right.
I think at that time there was much more of a like a male presence like in the charts or whatever. And now like you can't listen to anything. No, like everything's women are dominating the charts, which is incredible. But yeah, I was a big Ed Sheeran fan when I was younger. I was, and also
that X album was amazing.
I have that on
I
vinyl.
love that.
Yeah, it's so good. But I listened to him and Jamie Lawson. Like I loved. I'd never heard much like that in the way where it was just so simple, like guitar and just lyrics and telling a story in a way that wasn't like country, because country music is like that, but I don't know, it just seemed new to me. Like I remember the first time I heard Ed Sheeran on the radio and I was like, it changed my life. I was like, what is this? Like I've only ever been listening to pop music and obviously at the time it was 18 or something, it was super stripped back and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So yeah, I listened to a lot of that. And then in terms of female artists, I guess, who was I listening to? Maybe like Julia Michaels. She's her writing was, obviously she's an amazing songwriter. And I've always been a Taylor Swift fan, like since I was about 8. So that's just in my blood, I think.
Ingrained into you. Okay, so Ed Sheeran, how I would say Ed Sheeran wouldn't be like who I would say your music's like. So when did
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. No offense, I love Ed Sheeran, but I'm not going to see him.
When did you kind of start defining your own sound? Because obviously that first entry into music is it's challenging trying to find that. You even when you start first writing songs or start playing guitar. I was playing guitar yesterday and I couldn't not play anything that sounded like Bob Dylan or just like the finger picking. It's just really frustrating trying to find that little grain that you want to be. When did that start kind of developing for you?
I think honestly, like in the past maybe 2 years, I've like really found my own sound, because I listen back to music that I was making like during lockdown or whatever, and you can tell that I'm very much trying to my inspirations are quite obvious, I think, but I think because you said I don't sound like Ed Sheeran now, thank God. I did release stuff like that was kind of, you would listen to it and like I have a song called My Place and it's since been deleted from streaming. It's
You're
so
really trying to escape the Ed Sheeran comparison.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I posted it, I was like, all the comments were like, oh my God, this is like female Ed Sheeran. And I was like, slay, I guess. But yeah, I think I noticed a shift like because I've been posting my stuff on TikTok for forever. Well, since like not forever, well, since like 2020. But I noticed in the past couple of years, like I don't get comments where it's like, oh my God, this reminds me of this reminds me of that, which is like the biggest thing for me. Like I love that I don't get those comments anymore. Because that just kind of shows that you're making something that isn't a direct replica of something that already exists, which is, it's normal to take inspiration, obviously, like and important. But yeah, I think I've really honed in on my own sound in the past couple of years, and it's just been through maybe like expanding my music taste. So I have so many different influences that are all so different from each other that when they like patchwork together to make my own music, it's not something that's recognizable. And then also just genuinely making music and not sitting down and being like, this is going to sound like a Gracie Abrams song or something, like, because there's no point in doing that, because the songs already exist. Already exists. It's just about like having faith in your own sound and really trusting that like what feels natural to you to make is what people want to hear.
I know this might seem quite an open and shut answer, but you know, you started at 15, and if you were to go back to being 15, would you be creating, or would you take your music in the same direction? Are you happy with where it's going, if that makes sense? Would you, if you were 15, would you be happy to where your music is at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think I like to just like trust the journey and trust that what I was doing at the time was right, and I had to do that and make that type of music to evolve and into whatever I'm making now. So yeah, I think so. I like to just trust the process.
Yeah, and I guess your music is always like it's a story of your life, really, isn't it? Because especially as you go on for the years to come, your music will kind of be those bookmarks of your life at that point. It's not like you're trying to create music for your 35-year-old self or whoever else to listen to. It's kind of where you'd happily be at that point. I want to talk to you about Lungs. Beautiful song. I've had it on repeat. It was my I know you've seen the TikTok. I was listening. You probably got about 30 more streams that day. We had it on repeat. I was trying to become my inner Eve Christina and trying to, what would I ask her? And like I was proper like analyzing your music. I was making it probably a lot deeper than I was supposed to be.
Never too deep.
In Lungs, at least for this is going to be from my point of view. You might just tell me to shut the fuck up because this isn't actually what your music is. But you know, you kind of tell the story of a situationship, one-sided love, whatever else you want to call it. But was Lungs inspired by an experience that you've had before, or was it just off the cuff?
Yeah, no, it was very much, I think I was writing it like in the moment of experiencing.
Really? Really?
Not like literally next to this guy, like 1 sec. But I always do that. Like some people prefer to write about stuff like after it's happened to them or whatever, but I feel like I write the most honest lyrics when I'm in that feeling and when I'm, you know, experiencing it in the moment. So yeah, I was going through a situationship of sorts that was just terrible. And like I was 19 at the time, and like all of my friends were at university, and I was just, it was kind of locked down as well. So I was just by myself at home, and this guy was like just showing me like any attention, and I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in love. You're amazing. In hindsight, looking back, it actually couldn't have been more wrong for me, but you know, you have to go through those things to learn stuff about yourself, and I'm grateful. And I got a good song. Actually, I got a few good songs out of it. Like I wrote that song, and then a song called Apathy was about the same.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's the second line of questioning. Anyways, carry on. You're really helping me with these transitions here.
You're welcome. But yeah, no. So yeah, it was a real situation.
And okay, do you ever get nervous or like reserved about releasing a song or a piece of music like that, because you're basically just it's basically just name dropping, and it's not just their name, it's everything about them.
Yeah. I do with that specific situation, like it was so like without just genuinely exposing him, but he's not very online, and I don't think he's ever listened to one of my songs ever, like
Right.
from his own accord. I think he probably did it once when he was trying to impress me when we were like getting to know each other. But there's no way he sat at home streaming Lungs. Like he actually doesn't care that. I don't think he even cares if I still am alive. Like genuinely, that's how bad it was. So in that situation, I'm like, I can just say anything, and I know you can hear it. But I have had moments where I'm like, maybe I should not be so honest. Like I have name dropped before, but I don't know. I loved my whole thing that I always say is like, my lyrics are honest and they're real, and as long as I'm not being like nasty or unkind to people, me being honest only really negatively affects me, because it's just like it's showing how pathetic I was at the time when I was writing Lungs and Apathy. Like, and I don't know, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I do think about it sometimes, and a lot of the time I hear musicians or songwriters say like, oh, like you should expect that, like you got in a relationship with me, you should expect me to be able to just say whatever I want, like it's my job. I actually don't agree with that. Like, I do think you have to be respectful of other people's opinions, and just because you're a songwriter doesn't mean you can slate people and write the most insane things and not think about any consequence because it's just a song or whatever. So I'm learning to be kinder, I think, as I write, because I've definitely written stuff before that I've regretted, or it was just like in the moment, like my pen was just on fire
in the moment as well, isn't it? Right next to it.
So yeah,
it takes the meaning of that to a whole nother level. Okay, but is it difficult for you then to kind of escape those experiences that you've had? Because a lot of people kind of just like want to forget mistakes they've made or relationships they've gotten into, or they won't even mention it ever, and you're writing songs about them, and it's not like they don't do well, like they do extremely well, and they get a lot of reception online. Is it difficult for you to kind of maybe get past what's happened in a certain situation, or does music kind of help you escape and understand yourself better?
I think it definitely helps. I think in the moment of writing it, it's just so, it's like having a conversation with someone about what you're going through, but just being able to get it all out and release it from yourself. I find that so helpful to me. Like, I feel sorry for people who don't have that outlet, because it's I don't know what I'd do without it. But yeah, and then in terms of reliving the music, I think with those songs, because they're like, what, 3 years old now, maybe, even maybe longer since I wrote them. So I now, like, I'll sing that and like I don't feel anything. Like, I honestly, part of me just feels maybe like sad for younger Eve, but it's not like I'm like digging up old trauma and like having and struggling to get through it. I think sometimes with newer songs, but I quite enjoy like the nostalgia of it, and I like looking back at memories and having these songs as like time capsules and moments in time in relationships or just in my life. And I don't really struggle with it. I really find it something that's helpful for me to be able to work through feelings and work through situations. Yeah. And also, like, when I'm on TikTok, like doing hand gestures and stuff to my own songs, like it just loses all any sense of, do you know what I mean? Like, any sense of emotion. I'm like
because you'll just slate your younger self as well in the captions of videos, like, down bad horrendous. Like, what the fuck was I doing?
Exactly. Self-aware, at least.
You get ahead of all the comments before they've been made. So it's difficult for you to kind of have that feeling when you're performing them again. How do you, when you're performing these songs live, like your tour with Alessi Rose, is that her name? How do you ever try and kind of tune back into younger Eve to put more emotion into the songs? Like, how do you go about trying to perform them again?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I mean, a lot of musicians will kind of change their songs as they get older. Like, you look at an artist like Neil Young, or just anyone that's kind of performing still, that's been performing for 50 years, and I know you're nowhere near that point yet, but they change the meaning of their songs when they're performing them. They'll make them happier, they might make them sadder, and that's often by like instruments like piano. I don't know why that's such a sad instrument for piano, but yeah, how do you go about that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm interested to see like how that develops the longer I perform, because obviously 3 years is not really a long time in the grand scheme of things. But obviously when you're younger, it is more. But I think I do find it easy to tap back into those emotions, and because when I was writing them, I wasn't trying to be anything that I wasn't. Like they're such real emotions and things that I did go through, and I can tap back into them in a way that's helpful to convey the song in an emotional way, but not in a way that's gonna set me back emotionally and make me dwell on an experience that I'm over mentally. So yeah, I don't know, it's just about finding that balance. I do think it is interesting to play around with playing stuff on guitar and piano. I've done that a few times recently, like just on my live streams on TikTok. Whenever I go live, sometimes I'll just switch it up and go and play on piano, and it does just transform a song sometimes and make it so much sadder. But yeah, I don't know, it's nice to experiment and to do things like that, because it does help you tap into different emotions for sure.
How do you this is a bit off topic of lungs, but when you're going about writing a song, is it a guitar that you'll use to write the song on, or is it always a bit of both? Or
yeah, it's mostly like 95% of the time it's guitar, and then if I'm struggling to find any chords that I feel like I haven't used already a million times, I'll move over to piano. But my piano skills are very limited, so it sometimes it's just a case of playing the same chords on that I was playing on guitar, but just for a different sound.
Yeah.
A little bit, and that sometimes really helps. I'll get like a melody on the piano and then bring it back to the guitar.
Right. Okay, back to lungs. God, something's stuck in my throat. I was trying to really hide it for a long time there. I was just dying. Anyways, okay. For me, what makes lungs kind of so catchy, even when it's it's extremely like sad in a way, like when you really it sounds like a great song, and it is a great song, but when you really deep the lyrics, you're like, ah, shit, I shouldn't be dancing so much. But it's the rhyme that's kind of used in the half rhyme, that's kind of dotted and like sprinkled in. Did you make a conscious choice to do that? I mean, it's quite a niche question, but did you make a conscious choice to kind of make it a bit more upbeat than anticipated, or was it just a free flow and kind of put everything pen to paper? Because I mean, for when I've spoken to artists before, they'll say they use rhyme in a certain way to make it more easy on the ears. I guess that's the right way of saying it. But yeah, what's your take on that? What is your incorporation of rhyme like?
I'm super particular when it comes to rhyming, and I also like just the sonics of the words and like how they come out of your mouth and the letters and stuff. Like I use a lot of alliteration. I just think it helps us. It just helps a song flow, and it gives it a feeling. And I think it's important that the words mean something, like something, and also sound nice. Just in the flow. So I'm really it's something that I'm very conscious about, and I will sit there for hours and hours just trying to come up with like one lyric that sounds right.
Really?
Yeah, it takes me so long to write a song sometimes, because I won't rush it, and I won't move on from a line, because I want every line to be so intentional and in every sense, like in melody, in rhyme, in meaning, and in how it sounds. So I'm definitely really conscious of it. I guess with lungs, I'm trying to remember how that song even
sorry, you did just say that you wrote this song like 5 years ago, and I'm just oh, so you know this word that you used.
The big word. I love using half rhymes because I think it's like less obvious, and I
Yeah.
like using rhymes that are not to be expected. Like
Yeah.
I've probably done it before, but like rhyming like girl with world, or like I don't know, I don't know, but like there's so many, there's a few that are just like, oh, when I hear it I'm just like, oh, like use something else, like you could have used anything else.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm really conscious of it, and I think Lungs is I do kind of remember writing it. It's definitely started with the verse, and then I think I probably just came up with the chords for the chorus, and then it just ended up being like quite a jolly sounding song, even though the lyrics are the most devastating thing you've ever heard. And then obviously with the production, my producers that I was working with at the time, they just sort of took the song away themselves and made like the beat, the drum beat, and everything.
Really?
Yeah, and then just showed it to me, and I was like, whoa, like I hadn't considered that as an option, because when I'd written it, I'd not thought I'm gonna have like a marching like real drum beat behind it. Hadn't really crossed my mind. So for them to do that, I'm so glad they did, because that's like one of my favorite parts. I really love the production on that song. I think
same.
I think it's cool.
It's the way it comes in at the same point as everything else. I think that's what kind of makes the intro just sets the tone for it, I guess. And one of my favorite parts of the song is actually one of the lyrics and kind of the build up to it. It's the I'd rather learn. I'm not gonna sing.
Go on.
I'd rather no. I'd rather I've just embarrassed myself in front of
That's amazing. Wow.
Kind of listening to this point. Anyways, but all of the kind of words before that kind of leads. When I listen to it, it leads up, and that string it repeats later on in the song as well. I think it repeats. Well, it would repeat once, so it's said twice. That's what that means. Anyways, but it kind of acts as a full stop for the verse, and is the fulcrum of everything coming up, and then it eases you back into the next verse, which I think is a great conglomerate of everything. But do you intend your songs to have that peak, and to kind of have that build up to that point, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think honestly, when I write, it's just like a feeling, and I'll write until I get to what I feel like is that maybe that peak or that moment or that feeling, and then naturally it will taper down, or it will become an outro or something. I'm not super structured with how I write songs, which I like that's the type of music I like listening to. Like recently I've been writing a lot of just verse,
Right.
like no, like I just like it when a song's unpredictable in that way, or it's saying something and it's
storytelling kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very folky thing to do, and it's probably just from what I've been listening to a lot of, like Big Thief and
I love Big Thief.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, I don't know. I think I go through phases as well. So I'm probably just in my versy phase right now. But when I was writing Lungs, I was more maybe in like the chorus, because that song definitely has like obviously a clear chorus. And yeah, I don't know. I just write whatever feels good.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned apathy. As well, about the same situation, but don't worry, I'm not going to dig too much into that anymore, because it seems like you've been through enough. But you said in one of your YouTube videos, I think it was your Alessi Rose tour video. I think it was that, when you were rehearsing and you were talking about you were doing covers with one of your songs and kind of doing like a medley of that. You said that Apathy is your saddest song, or one of your saddest. Is it difficult for you to open up like that in a song? But yeah, is it difficult for you? Does it come kind of naturally?
I think it comes naturally to write a song that's that honest and real, because in the moment I'm not thinking about other people hearing it. I'm writing it from a place of, I need to write this song right now, and who knows what happens with it. And it just happened to be one that I really liked and then released. And I think, generally speaking, there's a long time in the music world between writing and releasing. You just become a bit immune to it and a bit numb. Well, I do anyway. Like, I stopped seeing that song as what it is, and just like a concept, or like a song. And I don't know, I don't find it, honestly, I don't find it difficult. I think I should maybe find it a bit more difficult, because I have to sing these songs in front of my parents, and I'm like singing the most insane stuff.
Eve, what does skin on skin mean?
Can you say you let them use your body now?
What does that mean?
Yeah,
right there.
No, it's not really a struggle for me.
I'm sure your parents are really thankful that it's not a struggle for you.
I love
it. When you write a song like Apathy or Loved Out Loud, where the song is telling a story of yours, do you find it best to tell the story where you're writing it kind of a free flow style? I mean, you kind of touched on it with Lungs. And there's different avenues for a songwriter to take a song. There's obviously free flow or free form. I think they're both the same thing. And then there's obviously structured, where people have the most insane way of songwriting, where they'll have like a word, and then that word will become a whole song. Anyways, that's enough of my songwriting expertise. But do you take time to mold this story into being through free flow and kind of just letting your pen do the talking, feel how you feel, and then refine it later? Or are you, this needs to happen, this needs to go there, I can't do that, it needs to be this, like really constructive and trying to get as much emotion out of it as possible?
I think, generally speaking, I'm more of a free person when it comes to my writing. I think where I am particular is with the specific wording of the lyrics, like as I'm going, but it's never really me sitting down and thinking, I need to convey this in this verse, in that verse. Like, I think, honestly, like, if I'm in a good place creatively, then that just sort of comes naturally. If I'm feeling inspired or whatever, like, naturally the first verse will be introducing a feeling, the second verse will, developing that feeling, or taking it to a certain place, and then the bridge, or if there's an outro or something, that's a whole other feeling. I think it's something that comes naturally if it's a good song for me. And the minute that I start being too curated about it and too particular, it loses a bit of magic, I find. So I don't really love writing sessions with other people, because I just find it a bit too, like, not clinical is not the right word, but like too particular, and not, it just loses a bit of feeling sometimes. And when you're suggesting something and they're like, no, and I'm like, what do you mean? No? How I'm feeling. Like, if I want to write a song that's expressing, my feelings and what I want to say, and you're saying that's wrong, like, it's so I just find it really hard. But some people love it, and some people work really well in collaboration. Maybe I will one day, but right now I'm not too keen on it. But I think that answered your question.
Are you protective over your music then? Are you really, like, do you show people your music before it's released and get feedback on it?
Oh yeah, I'm like so bad at that. Like, I'll literally, as soon as I write something, it's on TikTok. Like, I don't remember the last time that I've written a song and not genuinely immediately shared it. I'm just like, the validation and like, this can be the one. This is the one that I'm gonna go viral. Or like, this is it.
Let's go.
Every single time, and then I'm like, right, okay, Eve, what is wrong with you? Delete that. And I'm just really bad at keeping stuff to myself. But it's a good thing, because I like it. I'm excited by what I'm making. I'm wanting to share it with people, and I have amazing, lovely fans who will listen and will get excited with me, and we're both just like jumping up and down, like this is such a good song. So I love that part of it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like protective of my music, but only in the sense that I'm hesitant with who I collaborate with.
Yeah. Are you? Well, not are you? You are very authentic in remaining true to yourself in your music, and you say that you're very honest and open and you're raw and all of this and literally everything you do. And I think that's a great way of looking at your own music. And especially with people that I've spoken to, that is the one piece of advice they give, is just to remain honest. Like, even you said you were listening to kind of folkier things at the moment, even that is literally what the musicians that I've spoken to anyway have said to me. People like O.C. Elliott said that if you're true to yourself, then it doesn't matter if your fans like it, because at the end of the day, you're not creating music for your fans. I mean, some people might be. I'm sure they are. But I think that's a very, I guess, a folky way of looking at it. Anyways, the question was, I don't know why I turn into like this really old person.
You make a good point.
Thank you. How, when you're sharing everything and you're being so honest in your lyrics, how do you stay authentic? How do you, because it's a very hard thing for you to do, especially when you just said about validation, you know, kind of posting everything. And as humans, we chase validation. Maybe some people don't, but a lot of the time, validation keeps us going. The smallest things, the biggest things. How do you balance validation and what other people say about your music and just kind of ignoring it and doing what you're doing?
I think it just comes with confidence and trusting that you're doing the right thing by being yourself. And once you realize that there's no point in trying to make music for a specific person, or like because one style of music's doing well, like because I do, it is hard when you see people being successful with something that's maybe like really poppy or, you know, super different to this like kind of stuff that I want to be making. It's hard to not be like, God, maybe I should do that. Like maybe I should be doing that because that's clearly what's working. But I remind myself, like, as a consumer of music, there's so many different genres that I like listening to, and I go to some people if I want to listen to pop, and I go to some people if I want to listen to folk, and I go to some people if I want to listen to country or whatever. Like, there's always space for everyone, and there's no point trying to firstly create a sound that already exists, and secondly, like, trying to be someone that already exists, because I find it really obvious personally. Like, when I see people making music and they're trying to do something that is doing well, I find it really obvious to like see through that, because authenticity is just like, I don't know, I just think it's the best thing that you can have as an artist. And all of my favorite artists, the reason I love them so much is because they are completely themselves, and I wouldn't be able to compare them to someone else. Like, obviously you can with everyone, but like generally they've got a thing, or they've got just their style that you don't, it doesn't even have to be like a niche. Like, you don't have to be Chapel Roan to be do you know what I mean? Like, just because she's got such a thing going on. I think just with art, as long as you're being yourself and being authentic, it's the most beneficial thing. And then once you realize that, it just kind of seeps out of you.
Yeah, perfect. That was a very good answer.
Thank so much rubbish.
We said right.
Sorry.
We said, okay, so everyone is a bit confused right now. I said at the start, you know, don't worry if you speak too much. This is the whole point of the podcast. You even said, you were literally like, yeah, that's the whole point of a podcast. Why would you apologize for speaking so much?
Sorry. Whilst I was talking then, I was like, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I was like, I'm answering 7 different questions that you haven't even asked me. So
Okay, well, last question. And I've actually got to get this question right because I emailed you. Look how old I am. I emailed you about this yesterday. And actually, the reason I wanted to start this with you is because there was a live stream and you put me onto a really good song. It's called No Good by Genuine Panama.
Oh my God, they're my cousins.
No way. It's a I didn't know that. I think you were showing your friend. And you're like you had your sunglasses on and I was like, okay, it's like 11 o'clock at night. So I clicked on the live stream and this was I knew that I was going to be interviewing you or talking to you. I don't want to sound like I'm interviewing somebody. But I knew that I was going to be talking to you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, listen to this song. And that's what I heard. And then it was like this really funky bass beat. I can't remember how it goes. I was practicing how the song goes. I was in the mirror, like doing the bass beat, so I could like think, anyone that doesn't know this song, it's fucking incredible.
It is so good. Oh,
it's amazing. It's incredible. It's an incredible song. Anyways, that's insane. They're your cousins.
I'll let you know. I'll let them know. Yeah, no, they've like that band. They don't really make music together anymore, so it's kind of sad. But they have their own. They've got a new project. But yeah, I'll pass. That's hilarious.
You need to pass that on. Pass that on and say Ethan Neville said that is an incredible song. It's an incredible song, and you have incredible taste. And with that said, Eve, I must ask you, what your top 4 songs of all time are?
Okay, this is like just the hardest question ever. Like, 4 is actually it's good, to be fair, because if you ask me what my top song, I don't know. Anyway,
this is going to be clipped as well, so this will be on the internet forever.
I'm really scared. Like, and as soon as this ends, I'm going to be like, no, I've changed my mind. Because I made myself choose it like 15 minutes before we called because I was like, I don't want too much time to think about this. I'm just going to go with what feels right with my gut.
Okay.
Okay, so first one, and I know that I'm never going to change this one. Like, this will be in my top 4 songs forever, is Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell. I just think it's the most beautiful song ever. If I could have written a song, it would be this one. Like, I wish I had. It's just amazing. Every verse like explores a new element of life, and it's just a perfect song. Then I really wanted to have either a Big Thief song or an Adrian Lenker song. There are so many good songs to choose from. So and now I'm like doubting myself. I'm like, oh.
Just say it. Okay. Say it and it's done.
Okay, Ruined by Adrian Lenker from her new album.
Well, I wouldn't have gone with that one. But
that's you can't be saying that. I'm gonna cry myself. Okay. It's a beautiful song, piano and so simple but stunning. Like, a really, gorgeous. This one's a bit of a rogue one. The Climb by Miley Cyrus. I think it's such a good song. Like, I think it's genuinely amazing. It's a perfect song. If you listen to it, it's completely devastating but also so hopeful. Like, whenever I need a moment, I'll go and listen to The Climb and be like, yeah, do you know what? There is always going to be another mountain, and I am always going to make a move. So, yeah.
Okay, so Miley Cyrus is in your top 4 songs of all time. Okay, so last one.
This last one, like, I genuinely did just choose it so randomly. Like, I really haven't thought that hard about it, but I'm gonna go with Writer in the Dark by Lorde, which is such a random choice for me, but I do really love that song, and I think maybe I just find it relatable, and that's why I love it. That's what I'm trying to decide, like, find the difference between this year, is whether I think something's good or just relatable, because I think it's hard to mistake a song for being, no, it's easy to mistake a song as being like amazing and the best song to ever exist, when really you're just like, it's just your ego being like, that is me, like, I love that song so much. So, I do that a lot, like, and then like a few months later, I'll go back and be like, I can't relate to that anymore. Like, this song's actually, it's not good anymore. So those are
so true though.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So those are my 4. But that will change. That will change next week, actually. So don't hold me to it.
I'll hold you to that.
No,
I'll hold you to that. It's cemented now. That's your legacy. Those top 4 songs.
That's fine. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
I wouldn't be. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. Those are great songs to choose. Miley Cyrus was a rogue one. I wasn't expecting a Miley Cyrus song.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to the song though. I'll put it on after this. And
You've not listened to The Climb?
No. Am I supposed to?
You definitely have.
Wait, I'll play it quickly now. I'll try and not get it in the mic so I don't like get hunted down. Wait, the Climb.
The Climb.
Is it? Oh, it's a real old one as well.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
No.
Okay. I can almost see it, but dream on.
Oh,
this song!
You know this song. So I'm saying everyone knows this song.
This was her.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot this existed.
Oh.
My sister, shout out Emily, was Hannah Montana. I fucking hated it because I would come downstairs wanting to watch like Jessie or something. Yeah. She's just on the fucking couch watching Hannah Montana. But
you wanted to watch Jessie?
Well, right, okay. That's not. Well, it was like that, or like there was a karate one. Oh, Kicking It. That was a good one. What else was there? I don't know. I was very. Wizards of Waverly Place. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm trying to think. Anyways, Jessie was a great TV show.
No, it was great. Yeah, no, it was great. I agree. Hannah Montana was also great.
Okay. Well, now I can understand The Climb a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's not even in her. Damn, I'm looking at her hits, and she's got like hits. I didn't realize she was this big.
You didn't realize Miley Cyrus was big?
No. Okay, I take that back. But I didn't realize she had. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs that have hit 1 billion.
That's crazy.
Nothing Breaks Like a Heart.
That's a good song.
Party in the USA. Flowers with 2.5 billion.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's.
We need to be giving The Climb. We need to be giving The Climb those kinds of numbers.
Yeah. That's. I didn't realize that was her. You could pass it off for a Joni Mitchell kind of thing, or like someone else.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Damn, okay, I take back what I said about your top 4. No, I'm kidding. I actually do think it's a good top 4. I kind of have your last impression or first impression of me is just it's really judgmental person.
Yeah, you're like you're like trying to get into music critique and you're like, actually that's really bad taste.
No, because I get that in the comments. I post some TikToks and like sometimes I'll post something that I know will offend or like not offend but annoy people.
Yeah.
And I said something about there's a guy called Jesse Wells out at the moment. Everyone compares him to Bob Dylan.
Right.
I made a TikTok. This was after I made a TikTok. This was like my second hit. I was getting like 700 views and I was thrown in at the deep end with all this hate that I was getting. I was getting like 300 review comments on in my comment section. I was like, shit. People were like, I basically said Jesse Wells is the new is our generation of Bob Dylan. That was it. That was the TikTok. People were saying, well, you look like a paedophile because I have a mustache. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? What do you mean I look like a paedophile?
That is crazy.
Yeah. I think the worst ones are the jazz enjoyers.
Jazz enjoyers.
Jazz enjoyers. They're the most cynical people ever. I'll post a TikTok and they'll go off on an argument about a completely different artist and be like, no, he's fucking amazing, you fucking idiots. And I was like, okay, I can't just chill, right? Just chill.
You just have to expect, if you're going to be posting your opinion about music or anything on the internet, you're starting a conversation every time.
Yeah, I know. I got a message. I posted one today about John Lennon, and it was just a single lyric. And someone put in the comments, context would be nice. Well, I don't know what context you want from it. I don't know John Lennon. I just said thanks.
Context.
Thanks, John. What do you mean context would be nice?
That's funny.
Anyways, that's my little tangent done. That is Eve's top 4 songs of all time. That's the end of the clip as well. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like a 20-minute conversation. I should have said thank you after I actually gave me the
Oh, you can.
Okay, well, I'll just erase all of that. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This has been such a nice chat.
No, thank you. It has been. Thank you to everyone listening. If you haven't heard No Good by Genuine, was it Genuine Panama?
Yeah.
Listen to it now. I genuinely, it is so, I can't explain. I don't know how they have 165 monthly listeners. Or that was the last time I checked. It's insane. I was like, I want to start creating my own music. And then I look at that song and they've only got like 1,000 views. I'm like, what's the fucking point? What is the point of even trying?
That's so funny.
When
Yeah.
they've got like 1,000 listens.
It's a real shame. It's a real shame. But it's a great song. It's that
yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, everyone and anyone listen to that. Send it to family group chats. Listen to Eve as well. Listen to all of hers.
Don't worry about me. Let's just go to my cousins.
Actually, can you put me in contact with them? No, I'm kidding. No, this is actually all a ploy.
Yeah. Just
no. Oh, they're your cousins. Oh shit. No. Anyways, I need to stop. I'm not actually a horrible person, and I did very much want to speak to Eve. Yeah, I love your music. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Incredible. Keep going. Everyone that's listening, listen to all of her music. 1 million monthly listeners by the end of tomorrow. That's the kind of effect that I have with my 1,500 followers, is that they're really loyal. Okay. Anyways, I'll keep the outro. It's not even a brief outro anymore. Thank you all for listening.